Okay.
Just started already? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second podcast number 2 with YuChiao. And today, the topic we're going to focus on is effective communication. Now, YuChiao is from Siemens. As you know, she's a senior manager in Siemens, Taiwan. I do know that a lot of times, whenever people talk about communication, they immediately relate to the corporate world and working and colleagues. I want to ensure you that everything we talk about here is about effective communications in general, which means whether you're dealing with colleagues or your bosses or your customers or your vendors or your friends or your family or your wife or your husband, the skills actually do apply everywhere. So keep an open mind based on that, and don't think of it only as communication at the workplace, because that's not what it is. It's effective communications generally. YuChiao, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming in again for our episode 2.
Hello, Raju. Hello, listeners.
A few words and just give them a brief 2-sentence introduction. I'm sure they already know who you are, and then we can kickstart into what questions you have for me today.
Sure. Okay. If you watched episode 1, so you know I'm from Taiwan, from Siemens, and in the sales channel. And Raju used to be, my coach, trainer, and in the meantime, also a friend. And today I'm thrilled to be here and together with you to kick off on another journey to learn more about communication. Yeah.
Excellent. Good. Let's go with your questions and see how we help everyone out.
Okay, sure. I think telling the truth, or be it having honest dialogue or giving individuals honest feedback, can be quite difficult sometimes. So I think we are aware of the fact that effective communication starts with the awareness that there is my type of view and someone else's point of view. There's my way, there's your way, so there's no absolute truth. So can you share some tips how to translate this awareness into action?
It's a journey. I think step 1 starts with, are you ready to have this conversation with the person? You need to ask yourself that. Am I ready to? Because I expect they're going to have an opposite viewpoint, or they're going to have a different viewpoint. If I expect that they're going to be totally aligned with my thinking anyway, I don't need to have a conversation with them, right? I mean, if I know that, I'm going to talk about left and YuChiao is also going to say left, then why do we need to even arrange a communication call? I just send you a short message and say, hey, YuChiao, go left. Done, right? The whole point of having a conversation is because we may have some common areas, we may have some areas of difference, because everyone has an opinion, right? We're not even saying whether the opinion is right or wrong. There's no such thing as right or wrong. It's just your opinion, my opinion, right? So my step 1 is always, am I ready? My mindset is ready to have a conversation with them. That's the first thing. And after that, what I want to do is I want to be able to focus all my attention on only one skill, which is listening. No bias, no opinions. Whether I like what they're saying, whether I don't like what they're saying, I want to listen first, objectively. And the whole purpose of that is because I really want to understand what they're saying and why they are saying it. I think the why is the more critical one. We all hear what the other person is saying, but why is that person saying it? There must be a reason. They must have their own good reason for saying it that way, right? So it's trying to understand the why behind what they're saying. That's critical. And the only way to do that is to listen objectively. There used to be a joke that people used to say many, many years ago. I think it's become a very lame joke nowadays, but I've still heard people say it. God gave you 2 ears and only one mouth. and that is to make sure the ratio is you listen more and you talk less. It's a very old one, but people still mention it. You have 2 ears, only one mouth. So listen more, talk less. Right? Sometimes silence is golden. It actually helps you get your point across without saying anything. But we'll get to that later. Right now, step 1 is listen objectively, unbiased. All right. Before that, make up your mind. Do you want to talk to this person? Do you want to have this conversation? Otherwise, there's no point. The timing is not right.
This just reminds me of my very first training with you, where you asked us at that time. We were at customer service with my team together. You asked us, do you reply to understand, or do you reply to do you listen to reply, or do you listen to understand? And for us, of course, we listen to understand, but then after that, we thought about that. No, we always listen to reply, to justify that we were right.
Yeah.
And this was it was like, oh yeah, because we were not aware of that at all. We were not conscious of that at all. Yep. And that was a very, very precious lesson, because from there, I also got to learn further things to be more proactive. This is something I learned a lot. So amazing. Yes. Yep.
And it's so common that nowadays, because you're aware of it, you actually start listening to people and you start seeing them doing the same thing. They're listening, but they're jumping to reply.
Yes.
And that's not the way to listen. Listening is, okay, I only want to listen to understand you, right? That's the purpose of listening. So.
Yes. And interestingly, the counterpart can sense that as well.
Yes, definitely. Because you are really patiently listening with some response. The response does not have to be an answer. The response could be body language. It could be a smile. It could be a frown. You're mentioning something sad. So I go, and I'm showing it with my face. I'm not giving you what I think. I'm just reacting to what you're saying. And I think that is very critical in community. It opens up the channels much better.
Yes, that's right. And one person needs to take the first step.
Yes.
Yeah, the one who, had a chance to sit in your training.
That's why I keep saying, I mean, my first part is, am I ready to have this conversation? Because if I'm ready to have it, then I'm willing to listen patiently and understand you. If I'm not ready, then it's not going to happen. So that's the first one.
Yes. So there in life, there's a lot of conflicts. So when we encounter conflicts or emotional talks, what can we do to restore a calm and comfortable environment to make communication effective?
First of all, don't try to show the other person that he is dumb in feeling the way he is feeling. We all do that. We all do that subconsciously. I don't think people do it intentionally. But for example, you're telling me about a bad day you had. And I said, come on, we all have bad days. Why do you? And I'm going like, all right, then I won't say anything. What's the point me saying it? So all you need to do is acknowledge the feeling. That's all. Acknowledge the feelings. Say, oh my God, that must have been really tough for you. Oh, so what did you do after that? oh my God, that's even worse. So all I'm doing is summarizing what you said, understanding your feeling, and you will find that the other person calms down. If I try to tell them, oh, but you shouldn't have done that, now he's ready to fight with me. Even though the culprit was someone else, now he's ready to fight with me, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going. So you want to calm people down? All you need to do is put yourself, and this is a statement that we've been hearing since we were like 5, 6, 7 years old, right? And the funny thing is, every nationality, the parents have said that, or the teachers have said that to the students, is put yourself in the other person's shoes. I mean, I've heard it so much. I don't see anyone practicing it. It's it's something we've heard all our life. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. You can't. So if I can't put myself in your shoes because I am not you, I won't know what you feel. For example, now this is going to get a little sensitive. Yeah. You're a woman. I'm a man. And I'm really worried saying that nowadays because, with all the new terminology that's coming out, my pronoun is not a guy, it's he, him, her, they, them. So I'm not getting into that. All I'm saying is that a woman can get pregnant. So if you're pregnant and I see that you are suffering, having pains, or you're tired, how can I tell you that I understand? I'm a guy. So I cannot say, you know what, YuChiao, I totally understand how you feel. That's a dumb thing to say. You will never totally understand what she feels, right? Because you're a guy. You won't feel that. So what I can do is say, you know what? I totally understand how you might feel, because when my wife was pregnant, when my sister was pregnant, when whoever, and I could see that she went through the same kind of issues and challenges. Now the person feels, okay, you might actually understand, right? But I cannot say, I know how you feel. You don't. You can't know how I feel. I can relate to it, but I can't understand it.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's all that is being able to understand their feelings to make them count.
Yes. And especially you are saying we are talking about making others calm, and I think keeping ourselves calm is also very important. So this comes to the emotional intelligence. I believe this is a key also for effective communication. So do you have some tips for how to improve our emotional intelligence? I think this is also a leadership quality.
Having the right purpose in life. Why are you doing what you are doing? I'll bring it back to myself. All right. For example, why am I doing this business? Is because I absolutely love helping people. I want to see people grow. I want to see people, improve. I want to see how, even if it's a little skill that I'm showing and it helps them to solve some of their problem, or at least solve a part of their problem, that makes me very satisfied. So the sense of satisfaction, there is a greed factor involved. I do want satisfaction, but the satisfaction is not necessarily for me getting something from them. It's about me giving to them. And if I see them growing, I feel good. Right? Emotional intelligence is all about your ability to not control, but channel your emotion. I think some people get it very wrong when they say, oh, you have to control your emotions. I'm a human being. I can't control my emotions. I have emotions. How can I control them? So you don't control them, you channel them. You channel them into a different area and say, okay, I know how I'm feeling. I'm going to put that aside. Let me understand why you feel the way you feel. That channeling, there's two benefits to it. One, it helps the other person feel that you're not fighting with them. Or secondly, it gives you time to think through the right answer before you actually talk to them. That pause is a very, very important pause. In your team before you were in sales, you were customer service, right? In customer service, you always get customers that are screaming and upset and da-da-da and all that. All you need to do is say, Mr. Chan, I understand how you might feel. If I was you, I would be very upset also. Please tell me a little bit more. Tell me what happened. Tell me this. But all I'm doing, I'm not defending. I'm not telling him he's right or wrong. All I'm saying is, I'm really interested to continue hearing you talk. You will find that Mr. Chan does not have any more anger towards you. He's still angry with the Siemens or with the equipment or with whatever, but it's not directed towards you. So when the anger is not directed towards you, it's so much easier to handle.
Yes, true.
Right? But
Very
people
true.
are sensitive because they feel, oh, see, he's screaming at me. No, he is not. He's not screaming at you. He doesn't know who you are. He's screaming at the equipment. He's screaming at his frustration, at the delays that he had. So we need to listen carefully and understand, you know what, YuChiao, I totally understand you had to wait so much time. It must have delayed all your work. And I know how frustrating that can be. That's all. And there's nothing wrong with understanding. I'm not saying I agree that our equipment is good or bad. I'm just saying I understand your frustration. And that helps a lot.
Yes, relate to them. Yeah.
That is literally putting yourself in their shoes.
Yes. Because this also, because I realize now there's a linkage between, because you once teach us about the negotiation,
yes,
skills, and there you had this technique, BBRB, build trust, be approachable, build a common ground, and relate to the people. So I think this
definitely. The technique that I mentioned earlier about acknowledging your feelings, I call that cushioning. Cushioning skill. The reason being is when you have a hard chair to sit on, the easiest thing to do is to put a soft cushion on it and sit, because then you can sit comfortably. So if the person is being a hard chair, there's no me trying to, fight him with another hard chair. So I just put a cushion there. So much soft.
Yeah, wonderful. Yes. And recently, I just learned about something that could also improve our emotional intelligence, which is mindfulness practice. Those going back to your breathing, and that you find a connection with yourself, and then you find a peace inside yourself, and that you can look at things with more detached views, and you also shift your perspective, consciously. So you're like have this third party view. So you are not within that. Yes, correct. Yes.
You don't take it personally. You are becoming objective. And also, if you think about it, all that mindfulness is really telling you to pause, take a breath before you react, before you reply, which is exactly what I'm saying is you don't have to reply everything immediately. You can always take a pill. You don't need to rush into it.
Yes, that's right. By taking a deep breath, you also send a signal to your body, everything is fine. So this emotion would also come down with that, physical action.
It also gives you more time to plan out your answer so that the answer doesn't, because one of the things we found is that when people react with an answer, usually comes out wrong 7 out of 10 times. 3 out of 10 times they might get lucky, but generally it comes out wrong. The words are wrong, the tone is wrong, the speed is wrong, whatever. But if you've said, you know what, let me show you what we can actually do for you. All of a sudden, your answer is you are much more in control of your answer. So therefore, the confidence level comes in. The trust factor between the customer and yourself, or the other party and yourself, becomes much higher. So it's a lot more easily acceptable to the other person with your answer, rather than when you just blurt out the answer, right?
Yeah. Oh, so how can we are there any techniques how we can communicate hard truth without hurting people's feeling or making it less painful? Because I think authenticity plays a role as well in the communication.
I think so. I, I'm not a total fan of when people say that if you've got a hard truth to tell someone, you should put on a velvet glove and make it soft. I think that's being very fake. If it's a hard truth, you need to tell them the hard truth. That's why I always suggest your best friends are the ones who will tell you directly. You know, if you ask your friend and say, "Oh, how do I look today?" and they go like, "Horrible. That color doesn't." You know, it will tell you that those are real friends, not the ones who say, "Oh, you look nice. You look nice in everything you wear." I'm going like, God, that's so.
So
hard,
true.
hard truth is not about damaging the other person. Hard truth is about helping the other person become better.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think our whole definition of hard truth, whoops. Are you there? I think your camera went off.
No, I'm back.
Yeah, no problem. I thought I lost you for a second. Yeah, so the hard truth is not about we're trying to give pain to the other person or we're hurting the other person. It's in the intent. You remember we mentioned about intent versus effect. If your intention is good, it will come across. So if I'm saying something negative to you, you know, if I say, "Oh, YuChiao, you tend to lose your temper very easily," da 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 da, you know, there is a reason for that. It's not because I'm complaining to you because I don't like you. If I don't like you, believe me, I won't say anything. I'd rather go away. No point. So people usually give feedback only when they care about the person, right? Now, they give two types of feedback. One is overly nice, and one is nice but truthful. And I think the truthful part is the critical one.
Yeah.
So tell me about last time you had someone give you very honest feedback.
The last time someone gave me very honest feedback, I think was last week. Yeah.
Your mom?
My colleague.
Oh, wow. That's very good. That's very good. Okay. And because I know a lot of times parents are very direct. They'll give you honest feedback, right?
Yes.
For them, I'm the parent, you're the daughter. I'll give you honest, whether you like it or not, that's your problem, right? They'll do that way. Unfortunately, we've been brought up not to accept what they say because our friends tell us we look good. So even if my father says I don't look good, I don't care. I listen to my friend.
Yes.
But you need to decide, is that a true friend or is that one of those, you know, friends for good time only?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And I think you know, to be strong enough to also accept,
Yes.
you know, those feedback. Actually, of course, you need to filter useful or rubbish feedback.
Yeah.
But if you can take it, reflect, and if it's really applicable, and then you take some action, it's extremely helpful. So I'm also thankful to that colleague. Yeah. To point out a blind spot that I have. That, for example, he didn't really understand my expectations. Where I thought I actually communicated very clearly.
Yeah.
And actually not. So apparently, so what we thought and what is, the truth, that is a, there's a gap.
In fact, one of the key skills is whenever you're receiving feedback from people, all you need to say is two words. Thank you. That's all. Not, I don't agree with your feedback, or I really agree with your feedback. It doesn't matter whether you agree or not. Thank you. That's it. Walk away, and then, as you said, process. And think about, okay, he said he didn't like this, but I think I'm very clear. Now, the funny part is, if you get similar feedback from 3 or 4 people, that tells you something, doesn't it?
Yes.
That maybe I am not as clear as I think I am, because it's not one person, it's 5 people who've told me the same thing. So maybe I need to change the way I communicate, right? So we usually say, don't react, because it doesn't help. So just say thank you, walk away. And at the same, now, if it's someone that you respect, you can always say thank you. Can you give me some suggestions on how I can make that better? Right? If it is just a colleague or someone that you may or may not have positive feelings about, then you just say thank you, and that's it. But then you go back and you process and think about it. Could it be true? Maybe I wasn't, maybe, and then it'll help you to come up with the right solutions for it.
Yes. And I believe, for example, now I thought through, and I think he was right, and I would also give this feedback to the person. And I think it's a way of showing vulnerability, right? I'm not perfect. There's also mistakes I make, but I'm willing to change.
Yes.
And I believe this would also foster authentic communication.
It will.
In a group.
It will. And it also connects back to our episode 1, podcast 1, right? Because it talks about you having the right mindset, growth mindset. You're willing to improve, you're willing to change, you're willing to look at yourself as not being perfect. It also goes back and handles that the defect I had was the ego. I can't be right every day, right? So, I mean, especially when we walk in and, as a trainer who's been doing the same topics over the last 30 years for different types of organizations, it's very easy for me to sit there and go like, come on, I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm talking about. I am right. You can't say that.
You never do that.
It's not the right thinking, because you don't know what the other person's background is. You don't know what the other person's organization is like. You don't know what internal conflicts and structures that they have inside. So for me to just generalize and say, no, this approach is correct, doesn't work. So that's why all these skills in place, if you use them correctly, you have good relationships, you build a lot of trust, you have healthy communication with honesty. So you're actually being honest and telling each other what is necessary to be said.
Yeah. So true, because I used to be the person, I need to show the perfect face to the people. But I realized you cannot build, as you say, build trust. You cannot build trust by not being open. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I realized when I start to speak openly about my weaknesses, you realize that, of course, it takes time, but then people start to trust you because you open up to them. And this is where, sharing emotions can also build up strong relationships. Yeah.
Very true. One, I'm trying to see whether I want to call it a statement or a proverb or whatever. One thing I heard when I was young was that a leader is supposed to be strong. All right. So what do you mean by weak? Oh, he cannot show emotions, and that's not true. If you have a leader that actually shows me, his emotions and how he gets worried about certain things, that actually helps. It helps me to feel that I'm not really useless, like I could actually improve, right? In fact, I guess because we're almost at 2 minutes left again.
As always in the talks with you.
I wanna end my portion off, unless you have further questions. I want to end my portion off by telling you this. You know how emotional intelligence came about? No? First,
No? Okay.
first of all, they did a survey of some top CEOs, presidents, MDs, all the fancy titles in the world across different industries. They did a bunch of, interviews. And these were like in hundreds of interviews, right? And they asked them these very simple questions. Question was, how do you make your final decisions on something big, something serious? And a lot of people assume that it's based on hard facts, hard figures, numbers. My team gives me all the right figures. It was surprisingly how 80% of the CEOs and MDs, their answer was, my final decision based on, yes, everything they've given me, but my final decision comes from gut feeling.
Okay.
No, China is going to be a huge market. I know Vietnam is, that's gut feeling, right? But gut feeling means you're working on feelings, which means, man, you're weak as a CEO, right? So that's how they realize that, hold on, it's not that, it's not just IQ, it's EQ. And that's why the EQ, they started developing this assessments to ensure that, you can actually measure emotional quotient. And most companies nowadays actually look at both. Even if you have good IQ, but you don't have good EQ, you may not make it very high up in the.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, very true. Very true. Can I share something?
Please.
Only 30 seconds.
Yeah.
There was a workshop, and we were asked. Okay, there were three. They split the board into three areas. Okay, one is like skills, the other one emotional intelligence, and then another area states IQ. And then we were asked to write down those qualities of those people where we think they are great leaders. And 95% of the stickers went to emotional intelligence, EQ.
Exactly.
So that's the qualification for a great leader. So you don't need to be the smartest one.
And usually, if you notice, the top leaders are never the smartest ones. They always keep the smartest ones around them.
Yes.
They have the best IT person. They have the best finance person.
Yes.
And things move very, very quickly.
Yeah, and they have the power to unite people, those people. This is
you cannot be good in everything.
Yes.
Right? There is a saying as jack of all trades or master of one, right? Mm-hmm. So jack of all trades, yes, it's good. You know a lot of different topics, but it doesn't mean you excel in any one thing. Master of one means you excel in that one thing, but then you have no knowledge of the other one. So there is good and bad in both sides. Again, the word from session 1 is balance.
That's a wonderful ending. Yes. Thank you so much. Another insightful session.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for giving us your time today. I'll let you say a few words to our listeners and anything you want to say to them. Growth mindset is important. They need to continue to learn, and they need to use effective communication skills. That's very helpful.
Yes. I think one of the major key takeaways that keep in mind awareness. This is the start of all the changes, and find the balance. Yeah, the balance.
Balance. Yes.
The middle way is the way.
Right. This is perfect because it's the Indian way of saying greetings. It's finding the balance.
Okay. Oh, wonderful. This is the first time I learned about this. Okay, this is wisdom. Okay.
Well, no, I don't quote me, because this is my understanding of it. Because when we do this, we're actually finding the balance between all of us.
And we do this because we have respect towards someone. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I look forward to talking to you soon, off camera, whenever we get a chance. All right.
Oh yeah, looking forward to that.
Thank you so
So
much.
have a wonderful day.
Let me know when you want to start the training for your team. Huh?
Oh yeah, I will let you know. Yeah, soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Have a great day to you and also the listeners.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you.
balanced day. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.